exactly, babe?
What's the deal? It's your man, our son, the voice of reason. We holding it down here on Gangstagrass.tv. The bars break down. Um, it's been an interesting couple days here in the world of Gangstagrassery and such. I don't even know what's up and running right now. I'm hoping that all my YouTube people is up in here. Up in here. YouTube is live. Say word. Twitch True is live. Say word. What about you there, Booker? No, nothing yet from the old book. Oh well, I'll just hang out with my Twitch people and my YouTube folks. What's good, y'all? It's your man, our son, the voice, holding it down. Basketball season has started today, so I'm very happy about that. Although things are wild here in the city of Philadelphia. Your boy Ben Simmons acting a damn fool, breaking my heart and all, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. Um, yeah, man, we're gonna get right into it. I was for those of y'all that don't know, that are not as hip hop as me, which in many cases, over here is a lot of y'all because I've made it sort of my mission to introduce a lot more hip hop to more of my people here and there. Um, Particularly our my my bluegrass people that are just getting into hip hop via Gangstagrass, right? So forgive me, I gotta find my joint and clean my glasses because I can't see. Yo, what's up, Rich? What's good, homie? Uh, so a lot of my bluegrass folks may not know what went down Sunday night on versus. Yo, what's going on, Chris? How you doing, babe? My man, Big G. What's good, man? Uh, so we for those of us hip hop cats out here in the world, we're blessed to blessed with the latest edition of Versus, the semi battle thing that goes on. They usually stream it live on Instagram, and this week's was KRS One versus Big Daddy Kane, two all time greats. For a good majority of my life, KRS was my favorite MC. He's recently been supplanted by Black Thought, only just by a little bit, uh, just because Thought has just taken MCing in general to a whole other level, right? So anyway, we we watched the whole thing, and it was just magnificent. You know what I'm saying? It was really just a marvelous thing of MCing and watching these two guys battle and really kind of go at each other, even though they are friends. A lot of MCing is very much, you wind up really battling a cat that might be your homie or whatever. It was very very dope. So anyway, um, at one point, Big Daddy Kane brought out a couple members of the Juice Crew. Juice Crew was his crew from the '80s. That's probably still crew and whatnot. And they did what is arguably the greatest posse cut of all time, the Symphony. You got to put it up there with like Scenario, Symphony. Um, I can't put any of the Wu Tang joints in there because they're a little more like group tracks, right? Um, De La's Buddy. Um, we'll have to really break down a whole what exactly a whole posse cut is, right? But in general, we'll go scenario, symphony, that kind of thing. The symphony, Master Ace, Craig G, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane. Cool G Rap didn't show up for whatever reason. Ace, Craig G, Big Daddy Kane did their parts, and Twitter's going wild on the whole thing. Whatever, it's pretty fascinating. And at one point, um, a guy that's on my top five MCs all time, a cat named J Live, I think he was born in Brooklyn, but he's been all over the place. He was in Atlanta for a while. Just a brilliant, brilliant MC, just a brilliant lyricist. The way this guy writes songs and creates it's brilliant stuff. He said he put Master Ace in the GOAT conversation. And for those of you who don't know what the GOAT is, the GOAT, greatest of all time, right? And you know everything has their GOAT, right? A lot of people want to call Tom Brady the GOAT. I don't. Joe Montana's the GOAT. We'll talk about that another time. But so you know, there's a lot of GOAT conversations in hip hop. Who's the greatest MC of all time? And there are names thrown out there all the time. They throw Jay's name in there, Nas and Biggie and Pac and Rakim and Chris and Kane and Black Thought, all kinds of cats, all kinds of names get thrown in there. I personally, like I said, I would say Black Thought because Black Thought is just magnificent. Sleeve Reno, what's up, baby? Um, so I throw Master Ace's name in the conversation, and yo, Cats was coming at me like I said Iggy Azalea or some shit. Like I said, fucking uh like I don't know, JJ Fad or some shit. Like Ace has been in the game making consistently quality music, getting better at his craft for 30 plus years, right? John, we'll get to some music though. It's hard to be playing music, right? Because uh, they will shut you down. The streaming will shut down what you're streaming. Who's the best? The best is obviously Black Thought. Nobody has done it better than Black Thought. And if you go through consistently and watched him get better and better and better, and it's really not even close. To be honest, and I put Nas's name out there. Nas can go in the conversation. I'll put Jay in the conversation. I'll put Pharoah Monch in the conversation. I personally put Pasta News from De La Soul in the conversation. Um, oh, listen, Carol, they got me on Twitter today because I got into a little argument with one of my favorite writers, by the way, Gail Simone. Um, she said something, but that's some comic book stuff. We'll get to that later if I get a chance. Um, Shout out to Gail Simone. I love Gail Simone's work. She's brilliant. Anywho, so I'm out here, and Cats in one of the groups was like, Master Ace wasn't even the best in his whole crew, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that may have been true in '88 when Cool G Rap was really out there and Kane and whatever. But if you look at consistently from a consistent basis, Master Ace has continued to put out quality music over the last 30 years, and he hasn't flooded the market with an album every year and a half. Every couple years he puts out another gem of a record, right? And he's telling stories, and he's building these worlds and stuff. This guy is making nothing but great music. His production choices are fantastic. He did a whole album with a cat named Marco Polo, one of the best in the business. This guy has done nothing but great music, right? And I think that it's time for hip hop cats to really broaden their idea of what greatness is, right? And where the idea of the greatest of all time belongs, right? Who belongs in those discussions? So you have to include, and I'm talking about the idea of, let's start with it with a minimum of three great records, right? Great records. Now, if you have more records, you've got a better chance of being involved in that conversation. Okay, so let's start with, again, my personal favorite, Black Thought. If you go back and look at just his catalog, the three joints he put out in the last 3 years, brilliant. From an MCing standpoint, production standpoint, Black Thought did his thing. not even including the brilliant stuff he's done with the Roots for the last 25 years. So that's an easy one. Jay Z, that's an easy one, right? Nas, the overall collection of his work, he's got what 12 albums. At least three of them are great. I can't say that I've listened to everything that Nas has ever done. Some of his stuff, I'm not the biggest fan of some of his beat choices, but Nas has been consistently good, which is difficult considering the level at which he started. Right? Okay, Rich, and I appreciate you for adding on. Brother Ali. Brother Ali belongs in that category. He belongs in the discussion of greats, right? Um, I would I put him all time? I'm not sure yet. I have to kind of get involved with a little bit more of his work. However, um, I could put Murs in that discussion. I could certainly put Fonte in that discussion, based on his solo stuff and his work with not only Foreign Exchange but obviously Little Brother, right? Um, Obviously, I'm putting Pharaoh Monch in that discussion. I'm putting J Live in that discussion. Pasta News. Um, who else did I put in there before? Thought Monch. Common is going in that discussion. Um, I'm doing a sweep around the proverbial map to see who belongs there. Um, yeah, and I could, yeah, brother Ali he belongs in the discussion as an all time great, right? Um, Again, if we're talking a minimum of three great albums. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble. Will get me in trouble in hip hop circles. Has got me in trouble in hip hop circles before. Like I said, and I put Nas in that category because of an overall level of consistency and the level of greatness of his first album. Um, in hip hop circles, Illmatic is considered like almost the Bible, right? I would put Illmatic on the list of not only greatest debut albums of all time, but greatest albums of all time. The fact that this 19-year-old kid sat down and penned some of the stuff that he wrote and they were able to put together the production on it, it's a perfect record and belongs in that discussion, right? Greatest albums of all time. Now, second album, It Was Written. The only thing wrong with It Was Written was that it wasn't as good as Illmatic. He set a standard for himself that was so high that it's still impossible to top. So, and I could almost say that for Jay Z as well. Reasonable Doubt is is still my favorite Jay Z album. He's got a couple joints here and there that I love as much as Reasonable Doubt stuff from an album standpoint. That's the one I love the most. Again, and that's more a production thing. Um, this is gonna get me in trouble, and it has before. I can't say the same about Biggie. I can't say the same about Pac. Ready to Die was a magnificent record. For me, it had a couple skippable tracks. Life After Death, when everybody was doing a double album, didn't need to be a double album. Had several skippable tracks. Had some absolute gems, some perfect records on it. Kicking the Door is a perfect record. The album as a whole didn't do it. And then the third one, eh, okay. And Rich, you're right. You're right. I think that had Pac and Big lived, it would be easier for me to put them in that discussion. But I can't put them in that discussion any more than I can put, Amy Winehouse in a discussion of greatest singers of all time because, she only put out but so much stuff and then she died, and it's terrible. But, that's just the nature of the thing, right? And I don't know that Big did enough for me personally to be able to fit in that pantheon of cats that have put out. Pharoah Monch's discography is better than Big's. It's just better. And again, man, I've had this conversation, and I've had cats literally wanting to fight me, wanting to throw hands and abuse my head and beat the bejesus out of me because I had somehow disrespected Big. I wasn't disrespecting Big. I just didn't think that he had done enough to fit in that pantheon, right? So I'm having this Master Ace discussion with cats, and this guy is telling me that, well, I don't know if any of his stuff he was doing anybody ever heard. Hell yeah, people heard it. Disposable Arts, Long Hot Summer, like those things were banging. If you was and I was doing radio at the time when Disposable Arts came out. That's when I just wrapped up doing radio, and we played that shit all the time, man. And again, when you're sort of existing in the industry, and radio is telling you, and now streaming is telling you play these things, whatever, and the rest of it's not going to get nearly as much push. Well, yeah, obviously everybody heard Biggie stuff then and whatever, but you don't have as big a machine behind Master Ace, who's in the meantime creating brilliant work, and you know doing it better, more interesting. You know what I'm saying? Deeper in his thought, deeper in his ideas, deeper in where he's going with the stories he's telling and all kinds of shit like that, man. It's just doing it better. And let me just tell you, Cats was ready to. Like I said, I've had this discussion before. I had grown men ready to fight me over the fact that I, wasn't uh wasn't on Biggie's tip like everybody is supposed to be, I guess. And I think Master Ace is just a better rapper. You know what I mean? I think he's done more. He's been more interesting and has just produced better music. And it's funny when we think about the idea of greatness, right? When we think about the idea of who's done the things that have really not just set the Carazan, you're right. People's opinions were definitely swayed by Big and Pac's Marta. Pac put out a lot more music, a ton more music. Never really got me. It never really did anything for me that made it more interesting, that made it even remotely interesting. DMX, same thing. DMX as an entity, as a performer, amazing performer. His energy, lyrically, he bored me. And I think one of the ideas of greatness that a lot of cats are forgetting, that's getting left out of a lot of these conversations, is how dope of an MC are they? How great of a lyricist are they? Right? Have you seen them live? I've seen KRS live many, many times. KRS live is life altering. That dude's shows will just change your whole world, and Oh yeah. Oh no. Cats really want to throw hands about about Biggie, and God bless the man, and he was dope. And I don't get me wrong, is I'll bump some Biggie all day, every day, but it never was able to capture me on that level. And I think again, if we're going to ever have, if we're going to have these discussions of the greatest, because we do it all the time in hip hop. Even though cats will be like, "Nah, man, that's mad subjective," but don't say somebody's not the greatest that somebody thinks is the greatest, because then they want to go come at you. If we're gonna have these discussions, one of the things that has to be a part of the discussion is how well are they doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing. Not how many records are they selling, and again, maybe not even how much it affects you as an individual, but from a very from a structure level, from a level of building building words and creating concepts and that sort of thing. What's it doing? What are they doing there, right? And honestly, oh, that's better. Honestly, I think that Ace is doing a lot of that better than a lot of dudes' favorite rappers, a lot of people's favorite rappers. Um, yeah, you know what I mean. Um, Dudes be ready to was ready. I had a couple dudes ready to fight me once because I was like, I had mentioned that a lot of the way people talk about Kweli, right? Who I personally love. Say what you want about whatever issues you have with him on Twitter or whatever. Um, I think Kweli's dope. I fucking love that guy. Um, Kweli, the same things a lot of people say about Talib Kweli, I say about Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is a fantastic writer. That dude puts together very dope music. I'm not the biggest fan of his voice. Not the biggest fan of his beat choices. So for me, he doesn't do it. But as a lyricist, extra primo good, sir. And a lot of cats had said that same thing about Quali. They hate his voice. He's not. He's not. His flow is whatever. Yo, K Dot's flow is all over the place, man. Like everywhere. Not my favorite, but still dope. And so I think when we're having these discussions of the goat, right? There should be some sort of rubric that's set up to say, all right, what are we going by? What are we going by? Are we going by, you know, how big the words are they're using? Are we going by? But the things that we can't go by are record sales. I think record sales is a bad barometer to determine greatness because for you know a lot of y'all that are around my age, y'all remember that Vanilla Ice sold 8 million records, and there was no great there at all, at all. So record sales are a hard way to determine greatness, unless you're talking like such catastrophically goodness, like Michael Jackson level goodness, right? Like at that point, you could sort of have the discussion that at some point multiple tens of millions of people went outside to go buy this record. That's a little different, right? Um, but we can get into that another time. So I say all of this to I want to. I wish I could. I really wish I could play some stuff. I don't know how much trouble it'll get me in or whatever. Um, so what I want to do is just kind of break down some stuff, uh, some Master Ace stuff, right? And what this guy has um, what he's written, what he's come up with, what he's created. Um, and so we're gonna start with, actually, uh, on the new. Oh no, on the first. Not gonna lie, Chief. Don't. And I appreciate it, Karazan. I appreciate that. Um, I I don't know that I it's gonna take me a long time before I ever feel like I belong anywhere in that level or in that discussion. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That that makes me feel good, and I appreciate that. So on the newest Gangstagrass mixtape, for those that don't know, Gangstagrass has done two mixtapes of our versions of classic hip hop songs. First one was called "My Brother, Where You At." Second was called "Will the Cipher Be Unbroken?" And on the Cipher Be Unbroken, we did a version of a song called Kyle. What do we got? Mm-mm-mm. List Reggie J, Pac, Biggie, 3000, Jada, Corrupt, Nas, and an M. Okay, you know what? I don't. Redman belongs in that discussion. I'm okay with Redman in that list. I'm certainly okay with 3000 in that discussion. Um, Kiss, I am I'm finding it easier to fit that. I have my own issues with Jadakiss. Um, not as a human being, obviously, because Kiss is magnificent. But but as an MC, I'm all right. Okay, I can't. I'll never take anything from him, but whatever. Um, Gangsta Grass did a version of a song called "Acknowledge." Master Ace had some beef with a couple guys. Um, one of the guys from the High and Mighty, Mighty Mind from the High and Mighty, and then a cat named Boogerman. Um, and he did this song called "Acknowledge," and it was one of the illest battle raps I've ever heard ever. Like top five, like Ether, um, Commons, No Vaseline. No, I mean Ice Cube's No Vaselines. Commons, The Bitch in You, to Ice Cube. Um, and and Acknowledged by Master H. Um, and he went so hard on these two cats. Uh, and it was mean. It was abusive. It was what's the other? Oh, that's the other one that's on my list. Pusha T's joint against Drake. Woo! Ugh, that was just mean. Um, and that's the thing. Um, oh, good lord. Yes, we're going to allow. See, me and Twitch gonna we gotta chat. They said that my man that Rich's comment that Watershed albums like Doggy Style and album sales didn't slap until people actually realized. And Twitch was like, there are some words that you may not want to be able to have someone use, like Doggy Style and slap. Can you I'm gonna need Twitch's people to get on some context. Get on the context clues. I think we can say. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna type in the word doggy style and see what happens. Because now I'm like, why can you? Let's see if it stays allowable. Doggy style. Boop. Okay, let me do it. Hey, I guess it's because I'm the moderator. If everybody wants to go to our Twitch page right now and just type doggy style in the chat, I want to see what happens. Just want to see how many doggy styles I'm allowed to get in on Twitch. Um, All right, so we're gonna start at the end. He says he's talking about this dude Booger Man. He's like I figured I gave you some help because you need lots. I'll make you change make your producer change his name to Speed Knots. Knots produced the song. Um, Tell him I said fuck him for doing the track. Matter of fact, fuck Fat Beats for doing the wax. I'ma dish you via email and then through a fax. I'ma dish you by two-way. I ain't gonna never relax. I'ma diff you over a fast track or so whack. If you're or no track. If your shit wasn't so whack, I'd dish you yo track. You that little fish that I catch and I throw back. And by the way, give 50 cent his flow back. You that cat in the club that get hit with a bottle. Fucking with me, you better off trying to hit lotto. And don't answer back, this shit is hard to swallow. And you can't spit, nigga, so you obviously must swallow, motherfucker. Listen. Listen. And again, this is just a quick example of Ace going hard on somebody that needed to go hard, needed to get going hard on, or however we're gonna say that. But yeah, man, like, and I just wanted to sort of, all right, so he's doing that kind of shit. He's also doing. I'm gonna find something else here. Let's find some more Master Ace. Ooh, excuse me, I'm getting old. Do. Oh, take a walk. Come on, man. Young, black, intelligent. The grind. Oh, block episode. Yo. Wait, no, that's not the one. That's not the one. He did a joint where he was just him and the ball was going back and forth, just doing A's. There was like A, B, blah blah blah. Yo, it was so dope. Another one held a message to sex-based terms. Allow will post the chat. This is hilarious. I'm thoroughly amused with that. Hey, Carol Jan joined us over here on Twitch. Hooray! This is fucking hysterical. Okay, yeah. And Kyle Lesnar over here on YouTube. Yo, the halftime show is gonna be dope. The halftime show is gonna be fantastic. I'm curious to see how they're going to edit everything. Betty Lynn was good. I'm really curious to see how the edits are gonna go on that. That'll be a lot of fun. But all right, so and I'm glad somebody brought up Eminem. From a technical standpoint, certainly Eminem, right? He certainly belongs in any discussion, right? The way he sort of puts words together and builds, that's without question. I'm just not the biggest fan of his music in general. And if we're really gonna be honest about it, Eminem was able to get away with a lot of stuff, being a white rapper that a lot of cats that came before him would have never been able to do. But it is what it is. It's one of the great benefits of whiteness in America. You can get away with shit. And that just kind of happens. All right, cool. That's just again just sort of the nature of you're everywhere. Dope. Sort of the nature of it, but Eminem, one of those guys that really is able to put words together and has sold a lot of records. But for me as an individual, I could take him or leave him. But he belongs in the discussion, right? He belongs in the discussion. And I think someday we'll have an idea of how to really create that, where that line is drawn of who the greatest of all time is. But we'll see. The other thing that was really fascinating about the other night about the Kane and Chris battle, I'm talking to a couple of cats on Clubhouse. We had a whole they had a whole breakdown where they were talking about like who won the whole thing, and went song by song, and they were getting into uh, Kane doing every word for every song, and KRS using the crowd a lot of the times to repeat to finish the line, that kind of thing. And both very MC, different types of MCing, but things that MCs do. Um, and I gave the whole thing to Chris because at the end he was just dropping bars, and it was a bit much. Although Kane may have had the line of the night when he said he stayed out of that shit with you and Shan. You're welcome. That was kind of funny because Chris and the Juice Crew, they went through it and went at it, and it was actually pretty dope. Um, all right, Rich. Yeah, Jurassic 5, Charlie Tuna. I would. Uh, it's harder to throw cats in groups in there. The only one I think it's easy for is Pasta News. I think it's very easy for Pasta News to get put into a discussion of all time greats. Um, because as dope as Daylight is, and as dope as Dave is, don't get me wrong, I love Dave. Pasta's stuff has really just sort of really like sat with me as a writer, and it was like, okay, I like the way that this got structured and he built this is like, wow, okay. Uh, an old course mate of mine, they asked unironically if Bill Clinton was a hip hop artist. What? 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 Hey, hey, all right. Well, okay. So I see you're Bill Clinton, and I raise you the guy at the. Where were we? We were doing a show. It was live on some radio thing that we were doing. I forget what it is. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, Woody Guthrie invented rap music," and I'm standing there like, uh, uh, mm, I, uh, and I thought maybe I should be able to get away with slapping him. I thought, you know what? There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to slap this man for saying that. I should be able to get away with slapping this man for telling me that Woody Guthrie created rap music. But I didn't because I'm a good person. Um, I like to think I am. And it was yeah, he told me that Woody Guthrie created rap music, and and it was, he said it to my face like Henry Ford invented the Model T kind of thing. Like, oh, this is absolute fact. I was like, all right, I'm gonna just stand here and not make you look bad on your own radio show, sir. Rich is talking about Atmosphere, Merge, M Atlas, Massab, Donald Spectrum, Aesop Rock, Blueprint. I'm also gonna put on that list Blue. Blue is a monster. Blue is a monster. Um, all time, not quite yet, but definitely Master Ace. I really don't think that Ace has ever gotten the credit that he really deserved, and I want to shout out J Live for bringing that up, man. For he's got a much bigger platform than me, obviously, but when I brought that thing to Facebook, Cass was looking at me like I had told them I was eating children or something. Someone is saying hi to me in a language that I don't know and throwing up pictures of animals, so I can only say hi back. Welcome for joining us here at the Bars Breakdown, Gangstagrass.tv, YouTube, Gangstagrass's YouTube channel as well. We getting it in. Just talking about some hip hop stuff. By the way, shout out to my man the Phantom and his crew Ilharmonic Orchestra for their bomb ass. Yo, their merch. Ooh, Lord, look at that. That is sexy. Um, so yeah, shout out to the Phantom and his wife. They run things with the Ilharmonic Orchestra, and man, do they put on a show. If you get a chance, if you ever see the Ilharmonic Orchestra, uh, go see it. Go discussion. Wouldn't say group. Yo, okay, all right. See, Rich. Yes, they are touring right now. The Fugees are touring. This is another thing that's gonna get me in trouble. Without killing me softly, the score would not have been as well received. And I think that they should call Roberta Flack every day and be like, "Thank you, Miss Berta, for letting us do this." That's one thing. Um, because the Fuji's first album, that did not hit. Aries Godaware, what's good, man? Thank you for coming through and saying what's up. We appreciate that. Um, yeah, man, that first Fuji's album wasn't great. Um, and from a lyrical standpoint, Lauren Hill was the highlight of everything they did. Not to mention the fact, this again, this is another one. One of those things that got me. That's gonna get me in trouble. Uh, Miseducation of Lauren Hill, not my favorite record. I liked it. I liked that record a lot. Didn't love it. I did not love it. I couldn't love it because I went into Miseducation of Lauren Hill fresh off of the my off of the Fugees, right? And Lauren just killing that thing lyrically, man, just destroying it, just ugh. And then she didn't really rhyme that much on Miseducation. She sang a lot, and her voice is beautiful, and that's dope. And I'm glad that the album did what it did. Jelly Bean and Butters, what's good? How are you? Um, it was a good record, lots of fun. Didn't rhyme enough on there for me. I went in there I wanted a whole album of Zealots. Y'all remember Zealots from the Fugees record? A lot of people, they listened to Killing Me Softly and like the couple of the other hits. Zealots was the thing. Zealots was, oh God, one of the most perfect verses I've ever heard in my life. I've told the story on here 100 times, but I remember exactly where I was the first time I heard that record, and I couldn't. I was going into class and I couldn't concentrate on class. I was late for class and then couldn't concentrate on class. I was like, did I just hear that? And it was one of those things where I was like, all right, if I'm gonna write, then I'm gonna have to make sure that my pen is capable of doing things like that, because if you're not trying to be on that kind of level, what's the point? You know what I mean? As an MC, why what's the point of trying to write if you're not trying to really get in people's heads and really just make them stop everything they're doing, right? And make them wait, did she just what? Oh wow. Okay, that's what you just said. Okay. That's what I'm seeing. That's what this whole rap shit for me, that's what it should be. You should be trying to make people stop doing what they're doing when they're listening to your records. Not just because of the beat, but because of what you're saying, right? One of the reasons I hang out with Dolia, one of the reasons why we're so tight is because when I'm listening to what he's saying, it makes me stop and listen to everything that he's saying because it's so well composed and put together, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what's happening over here. Dope. And so when we're talking about greatness, getting back to that, I think any rapper that's doing this, um, that's not trying to make sure that people are paying attention to what's being said to them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that you're understanding what you're supposed to be doing, right? It doesn't always have to be the deepest thing. It doesn't always have to be the most wise thing or whatever. One of my favorite songs of all time is Coogee Raps on the Run, and it's about a dude that was selling drugs, and then he decided he was gonna steal the drugs, and then went on a crime spree and killed a whole bunch of people, and went on a run with his family, and then he had to shoot the mob boss and all this kind of stuff. But it's a brilliant story, man. It's so dope. Um, my problem with that is, and with G rap in general, is like that was as far as he went. It was like crime, crime, crimey crime, 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 bitches crime, murder crime, crime. And he started, hey, his joint Poison. But on the same record with Poison was a track called Road to Riches, and him telling his soul story about how he got into the game and all the shit he did, and then he went to jail and all this kind of shit in the video. Yo, it was amazing, and I think a lot of cats sort of walked away from that sort of storytelling aspect to the idea of this is my life sort of thing, crime, crime, murder, crime, kill, crime, murder, crime, bitches, and it was like, all right, okay, nah, give me something else. Something else. Make up something. Make up something completely ridiculous. Tell me a story about goblins. Tell me a story about, you know, anything else. Surprise me. And a lot of cats just they stop surprising us. Um, and for me, the ones that'll always have a better chance to be great are the ones that surprise us. Really surprise me with not only what you're doing, but how you're doing it. How are you telling the story? What stories are you telling? You know, something impress me, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Uh, and I'm glad that some of the real greats do that. Are able to do that and surprise us all and tell a story, and I won't say that. Yeah, what's up, C? Thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate that over on YouTube. And Rich, I'm not gonna say that bunch blunt bitches blunts and crime it moves away from the soul of it, because bitches blunts and crime was a part of the soul of it too. You know what I'm saying? Like shit, I can't take anything away from cats that are able to do that. I can't do it, right? I've never done any crime, and I don't smoke blunts, and I never really dealt with bitches. You know what I mean? None of the women that I've ever dealt with in my day that I, call them bitches, unless we was fighting or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. But I never, it was never be like it would. You never see me on stage like, yo, it's so many fly. Where all my bitches at? Like it's not gonna happen. So it's not about taking away from anything about the culture in general. But the culture is broader than that, and so I would say if we're able to keep the culture broader, um, then it's probably a better idea to do that. But that's neither here nor there. Grown really go over so well with the quality of who your lyricism and track. I mean, again, like Nas has been doing that shit for 30 years, doing it quite well. You know what I'm saying? Hey, unmix the doors that do these live feeds. Thank you, thank you. I love doing this. We're not doing as many during the week. We still do our Friday night ones. We were doing a bunch more, but I'm the only one that's kind of has the time to do them on at night. And it takes a lot for me to work this whole thing out to do this hour for you guys. But I love doing it, mostly because I just like talking. But I like the back and forth with you guys. I like being able to share a little knowledge, get some knowledge back from y'all, and you know, to quote the great, um, I don't know if I can say that, but a great quote is, "If you're not careful, you might learn something before it's done." That's probably better. That's probably better. Come to Orlando. You know what? I would be okay with coming to Orlando if you could separate Orlando in a bubble somewhere and take it out of Florida, because Florida terrifies me right now. I got family in Florida, and I love them. I'm terrified of Florida right now. I got family in Texas. I love them. Terrified of Texas right now. And so I would like to see all of them, and I would like to do shows for everybody all over the country. But Texas and Florida scare me right now. I'm not gonna lie. But I can't wait till you guys are able to see all the stuff we got lined up for next year. Next year is gonna be exquisite, man. It's gonna be extra primo good as we're roaming around the country and around the world doing our thing, and really getting to tour with the album No Time for Enemies. Finally, we did a little bit of shows this year. Towards the end of this year, finally started getting back out into the world doing festivals and stuff. We only did like 2 shows inside, um, but it'll be a lot of fun to get back out there into the world, and hopefully we're all better to better equipped to deal with each other, and so on and so forth. But yeah, keep an eye up on gangstagrass.com/events for all the things that are coming up, and finding stuff that's close to you so you can come see us. Make sure you hit the Gangstagrass Barnstormers page, the Gangstagrass Barnstormers. You get all kinds of great stuff and stuff that the rest of the world doesn't get. You just don't. The rest of them don't get it. That you get to check out. So that's up there. Make sure you go check out the Barnstormers page on gangstergrass.com. And yeah, make sure you join us Friday night. We'll be on here online Friday night doing our thing. I don't know if we have anything lined up, so we may just be up here shooting the shit and catching up with everybody and such. But make sure you come through and check it out. That's the deal, man. Thank y'all for joining me on the Bars Breakdown. It's your man R, son, the voice of reason, holding it down for Gangstagrass, aka the Super Triple Nation. Wherever you at, I'm at. Black Tribbles, I love y'all to death. The Comic Book Jedi, the Rand of Steel, and the Malcolm Comics and Coffee House. All my comic book people, I'll see y'all tomorrow up in the spot. Until then, I will see y'all on the swing back. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. Stay out of trouble. Wash your hands. Wash your butt. And don't lick anybody you don't know, because that shit will get you, I don't know, something. One of them crazy diseases out there.